So here we go, round 2. I tried this once before. It was 5 degrees outside. My nose ran during the video and wouldn't stop. I had to go to my pickup 3 times to warm up. So here we go, round 2, 6 tips, letter buck. That was a struggle. Hey everyone, welcome to the Valley Egg Pilot channel. I'm Andy, and today I'm going to be giving you my 6 tips to earning your first seat, and these tips will honestly help you with any job you have in your life. First off, I want to tell you guys before we dive right into it that, you know, these tips that I'm giving you are tips that my mentors in the ag aviation industry have taught me, and they're also mistakes I've made and lessons learned. So hopefully these are really useful for you guys. Here we go. The first tip that I'm going to give you guys is go load airplanes. If you want to be an egg pilot, you have to go load airplanes. I think it should be a prerequisite to getting a pilot seat. There's so many good reasons to go load airplanes. I mean, and in my opinion, the biggest is figuring out whether this industry is for you or not. You know, there's been plenty of stories of people who think they want to be an egg pilot. They go to egg school, they spend all this money, and they're an egg pilot now, and then they go do it for 2 weeks and they absolutely hate it. And you know, I think that going and loading airplanes beforehand, you know, probably would have given them the light that, you know, being busy the entire summer, you know, not being able to leave work at 5 o'clock is just not for me. And ag is hard work too. It's not easy. If you're loading on the ground, you're there sun up to sundown and everything, you're gonna get a good idea what it's like, and that's the way it's gonna be when you're a pilot too. It's not gonna be a field of roses every day. Another good reason to load is how much you learn about the business and also being a pilot while you're working on the ground. Myself, I learned a lot from the pilots that I worked around. There's a lot of things they taught me while I was working on the ground that I now use while I'm flying today. There's a lot of it, the things that we talked about on the ground, I do believe helped me get through the season without a scratch. So thanks to all my mentors that have given me tips and good advice throughout my career. The third reason why I think you should load airplanes is because you need to know why you want to be an egg pilot. The first time I filmed this, I didn't have this idea, but it came to me after having a conversation with a person, and I was listening to them talk, and I really questioned why they wanted to be an egg pilot. I think it's very important to know why you want to do something, because I think the why is going to affect the how. And what I mean by that is, if you want to be an egg pilot because it's badass, and it is, it's definitely a fun aspect of aviation. I love it. I think it's badass myself, but that's not why I do it. I think if you have the attitude of, well, I want to be an egg pilot because it's badass, is going to lead to a macho attitude, which we know in aviation as one of the hazardous attitudes. I think it's going to lead to bad decision making. I think if you go to work every day going, well, I'm here to be a badass, and what I'm going to do is make badass decisions, then in this industry, you'll probably get hurt pretty quick, or you're just damn lucky if you make it through a whole career and not get hurt. Figure out why you want to be an egg pilot. And the funny thing is when I was driving here, I was thinking about that question, and I started thinking about why I wanted to be an egg pilot. I know I love flying and I love farming, and that's kind of why I decided to go this direction, but I like it because of the challenge. I do take pride in the fact that we take care of crops that help feed the world and our people here in the US. And you know what? My opinion on why I do it might change over time, but it's definitely going to be one that keeps my mind in the right place. Tip number 2. If you've been through any sort of pilot training, you've heard this before. We need to be ahead of the airplane. It works the same on the ground as it does in the airplane. So when you're a loader or working in any facet of some sort of operation, it's really going to make you stand out of the crowd if you're always ahead of the game. And what do I mean by that? It means that as you're performing one task, you're also preparing your mind or anything physically on the ground for what's coming up next. So that way, when it's time to perform that task, you're ready to go right now. And it'll make the operator happy. It'll make your pilot happy because it's less of a headache for him. It's less time on the ground. And that really does transfer over to the airplane. Like I said, we've talked about this in aviation, being ahead of the airplane, because if you're not ahead of the airplane, you'll fall behind, and now you're reacting to what is happening in your situation instead of being proactive and being in control of the situation or aircraft. It's very, very important that you learn that skill on the ground, maybe as a loader or whatever else you're doing, and then transferring that over to the airplane, because when you first get into that egg airplane, man, it's you've spent years on the ground thinking about what it's going to be like, and it's a lot at first, and it takes 30 to 50 hours, I think, at least for me, to get to a point where I had an idea of where I needed to be ahead of the airplane, and even then I may still not have been ahead of it all the time. I was doing my best and I was learning. Number 3, don't burn bridges. What do I mean by don't burn bridges? Well, what I mean is 2 things. One, getting into arguments or being hot with coworkers. The second thing is if you're ever leaving an operation and moving on to something else. Don't burn bridges. It doesn't do anybody any good to get into arguments with people, to point fingers and call names. We need to be honest about our situations, but there's a fine line there. And I'll go to my first point about how it's very important to work well as a team player with your pilots, with your other loaders, with the operator who's ever in charge of the operation. If you're somebody that is not a real good team player, those people aren't going to want to work with you at all. And they're not going to want to mentor you at all either, like pilots. I mean, like I told you earlier, I got a lot of mentorship from pilots as a loader, and if I wasn't easy to work with, or if I would have been a pain in the butt the entire time, they might not have given me the advice that they did give me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without that. Another thing is when you're ever leaving an operation, it's best to just be honest about why you're leaving, but there's no reason to be pointing fingers, like I said, calling names, getting mad at people. You never know where you're going to be down the road, and you never know who could potentially give you a helping hand. A good example would be if you decide to leave an operation, you leave on a bad note, there's hard feelings on both sides, and, let's say you start your own operation, and one day, you've gone around, you've made everybody mad, and now you've got 40,000 acres on the books, and it's just you, and nobody is going to come to help you, and you're going to lose all this work. That's what I mean. You never know who you could get a hand from. That operator that you first started with, maybe if you would have kept a better relationship on your way out the door, you could have both said, you know what, you're right, this isn't working out for both of us, it's time to part ways. But maybe down the road you reconcile and you can work together. So very important to be respectful of others, and like I said, just don't burn bridges. It's hard to do sometimes, but you know what? It's being the bigger man or bigger woman and taking the high road. Number 4 is never stop learning. This isn't something you physically do. It's more of a mindset and an attitude. Really, it is like it's a lifestyle. What does it mean to never stop learning? If you're somebody who truly believes that you'll never stop learning, you will never find the end to doing things a better way. So that means that every day when you go to work, you're doing things the best you can, and you're critical of yourself in your operation. Main thing, yourself. Be critical of yourself. That's the big thing. You need to be able to look in the mirror and go, can I do a better job? Maybe there is a better way to do this. And that means that if somebody approaches you and they go, hey, Andy, I think we could maybe do this a better way, your response, if you have the attitude of you're always learning, is, okay, I'd love to hear what you have to say. We should take a look at this. Yeah, let's try that idea. Maybe that'll work better. Somebody against that would be, no, I know what I'm doing, and this is how I'm doing it, and this is the best way to do it. Why is that so important? Well, the reason it's so important is because everything you do on the ground transfers into the air. And if you're a pilot that believes that you got this, like there isn't anything else to know, like you know how to do this job, you're a dead man walking. Why does that make you a dead man walking? When you go to get in the airplane with that attitude, you've let your guard down. You've 100% let your guard down. You are no longer paying attention to the evils that are out there. And when I mean evils, I mean trees, wires, anything that can ruin your day as an egg pilot. So you have to always have this mentality after 30, 40, 50 years of flying that, you know what, I've done this for a long time, I know what I'm doing, I'm confident what I'm doing, but you know what, there might be something different out there today that could put me down. And I need to be on my toes, always paying attention, and always thinking, is there a better way? Is there a different way? Is there something different about what I'm doing today? Maybe they put in a new wire. Maybe there's a new tower by this field. Maybe there's a Met tower somebody put up and you haven't seen it before, but you've been to this field a million times. So again, go to work every day with the attitude that, you know what? Maybe there's a better way to do this. Never, ever stop learning. Ever. It's a lifestyle. If you want to be an egg pilot, it's a mindset that you have to live by. Number 5 is just plain and simple, work hard. Seemed to me growing up was a very cliche statement. Everybody told you to work hard, but I don't think you really know what work hard means till you actually work hard. I mean, long hours, in the heat, in the sun, under stress. I mean, you know, when you're working hard, you're at work early. The old saying is so true. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. Be early. My first mentor told me that if I wanted to earn a seat, I need to be the first person at the airport in the morning. I need to have a pot of coffee made for everybody, the hangar doors open, the lights on, the plane's ready to go, and everybody else gets there. Because if you can do that, you are telling that operator through your actions, not just through your mouth, that you want to be an egg pilot and you are willing to put in the time and do the work necessary to get there. That's very, very important. I mean, when you're out working during the day, bust your ass. I mean, always do as much as you possibly can. You know, don't just do the work that you're responsible for. Help other people out. If you're loading with a couple different people, help them out. If you see a pilot get out of his airplane and he's working on something, run over to him and give him a hand. 6, because I only have one hand right now, is be accountable. Being accountable means that you tell the truth whenever you make a mistake. Don't just not lie. I mean, tell the truth. Be honest. If you make a mistake at work, you need to tell your boss about it. So what are the steps after you've made a mistake at work? Number 1, fess up. Tell somebody, tell your boss, tell the pilot you're working with that you made a mistake. Number 2, what's the solution to remedying the problem? Maybe you already know what it is. When you tell them that you made the mistake, tell them what you're going to do to make it right. And the third thing is ensure that it doesn't happen again. Make sure that if you make a mistake, that you're putting some sort of parameter in place, either in your mind or putting a note on the wall above the loading cone, whatever it is. I had to go to my pickup to warm up. It gets cold here during the wintertime. It's 5 degrees outside right now, and the hangar's not heated, so I had to go warm up. There it is. That's my 6 tips to help you earn your first seat. I hope these help you guys. If you think that anything I said today doesn't make any sense, leave a comment. I'll explain it a little better to you. If there's something I said that you disagree with, maybe you don't believe that that works, leave it in the comments. Let's have a conversation about it. And also, if there's anything that I missed, please let me know. If you're an operator watching this video and you think, you know what, there's some things, some other attributes that I like to see out of guys I'm considering starting, let's talk about it. Let's have a serious conversation and get the word out there. Share this with somebody that's trying to earn their seat. God, on top of that, really guys, I appreciate all the support. I just crossed 250 subscribers on YouTube. I think that's a milestone. We're headed in the right direction. First 250 subscribers, you guys are the OG group. You guys are helping me get off the ground here. So please share this channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you go down over here and hit the subscribe button. And if you like this video, smash that like button just like everybody says. All right, guys, that's it. That's my 6 tips. Good luck out there. Catchy ending slogan. You're so cold. You just want somebody to fly you. I'll fly you. I would love to fly you. You're gorgeous.